Hello my friends, so this is the second part to my video response to Buddafly FX video response to my video responding to his video about witchcraft, 9/11, September 11th being a witchcraft ritual. So, I hope you enjoy.
AA is a magical order that was created by Crowley in 1907. Here is their seal. Here's their seal. A septagram with AA, sigillus sanctum fraternity. Okay, well. Okay, sigil, sanctum, for basically fraternity, AA. So it's a fraternity. Okay, you can see the seal. It's a septagram. Okay, an inverted septagram of all septagrams. Okay.
Quit making shit up. It doesn't matter if it's inverted. And how would you know it's inverted? What makes it inverted?
AA 77, anyone?
I feel like he was trying to make a point here, but I'm not too sure exactly what it is.
For the Book of Lies, 7, the septenary 11, the magical number 77, the manifestation, therefore, of the septenary through matter, because 77 is written in Hebrew ayin zayin, and he-goat, the symbol of matter, Capricornus, the devil of the tarot, which is the picture of the goat of the Sabbath upon an altar.
What the fuck does this have to do with flight AA 77? And why is 77 relevant? Because it appears in Crowley's books? So any number that appears in one of Crowley's books is somehow relevant?
Black Mass, anyone?
This poster keeps switching between things. Aliester Crowley's Book of Lies has absolutely nothing to do with Liber 175 or a Black Mass. And if we are to entertain the ridiculous possibility that September 11 was some kind of a witchcraft ritual, we are going to have to compare it to an actual ritual. And so far, these are various numbers and several different misquotes that don't have any meaning and don't fit in together.
Anton LaVey, founder of the Church of Satan, lists 77 infernal names of the gods and goddesses of the royal palace of hell.
This is completely out of left field, and I don't know why it has any relevance to it, but yes, that sounds about right.
All of these amazing numerological synchronicities, and this is just the beginning. It gets better. The Pentagon, which is 77 feet tall, is located on the 77th meridian west. Oh, and George H.W. Bush, who first announced his plans for a New World Order on September 11th, 1990, 11 years before, well shit, this is just getting too obvious. Well, Daddy Bush was 77 at the time of the attacks.
This number is clearly being looked for, and so it is being found. 77 has no objective meaning by itself.
For the record, I'm not demonizing any of these numbers. Symbols can be used for good or evil. I don't believe a number can be inherently evil. After all, symbols don't kill people. People with symbols kill people.
This is all his straw man. So far, I see no parallel with the occult and this event. He is exploiting this event for his own twisted purpose. And he is stretching, he is seeking evidence from the most obscure corners of his own twisted imagination and forcing these things into some kind of a fallacious argument that he can direct and blame and scapegoat the occult on.
Any more 77s we can add to this already overbearing occult script? You bet. I'm sure most of you are familiar with the mystery plane that was spotted in New York and above the Pentagon during the attacks. The plane has since been identified as the E-4B, which clearly there's a link here so you can go and look into the fact that it was identified. Okay? A highly secretive and advanced plane, also referred to as the Doomsday Plane. A FOIA request finally got more information from the FAA in 2008 about this extremely unusual plane that should not have been there, unless it's piloting the attack aircraft by remote control.
So were witches piloting that airplane? Why isn't he exploring this? It seems much more plausible than these numbers.
But that opens a whole new can of worms. They call the call sign of this plane that was spotted above the Pentagon during the attack Venus 77. For those that are astrologically minded, the conjunctions of the planet Venus against the zodiac form a pentagram. Venus invokes the pentagram. Plenty of information available on this with a simple online search.
So this aircraft that was in the area seems like something that should be explored, but no, instead we're off chasing numbers and planetary alignments.
You can go do the online search. I don't have time. However, here is a pictograph example of Venus invoking pentagram. Okay?
Looking at this graphic, I notice that each point of this imposed pentagram occurred on October 31st, 2010, June 1st, 2012, January 6th, 2014, September 13th, 2015, and again it will occur on March 19th, 2017. So are these numbers in the dates relevant? None of these dates are even close to September 11, 2001. Venus revolves around the Sun approximately every 224 Earth days. Venus, from our vantage point, seems to go retrograde, that is, backwards, 5 times every 1 Earth year. There's a link below explaining it, but that is what is meant by the pentagram of Venus.
So Flight 77 eliminates Romney's dirty laundry, along with anyone else who knew too much.
Romney's dirty laundry, along with anybody else who knew too much? Is this whack job implying that everybody who knew too much was put on this aircraft? Does he even comprehend how completely and logistically ridiculous and impossible that would be?
By hitting the 77-foot-tall Pentagon with 7 floors on the 77th meridian west, while the Doomsday plane, call sign Venus 77, pentagram 77, circles above, and Flight 175, the plane that evoked the deity, hit the 77th floor.
More number synchronicity? Venus is not a number, and it is not a pentagram. And Flight 175 evoked the deity. We haven't even determined that this is even close to any kind of a ritual. This guy is grasping at imaginary straws.
And what about that final number? Flight 11 hit floor 93. The final fateful flight that day was, drumroll, Flight 93.
So, we're back to number 11?
For those who are familiar with Crowley, this 4th flight is by far the easiest to associate with the diabolical individual. In fact, there's an entire Wikipedia page on the importance of the number 93 to Crowley and his religious philosophy, Thelema. In fact, Thelemites often greeted each other with 93, or will sign correspondences with 93 at the end. Flight 93, Flight AA11 crashes into the 93rd floor. Is this starting to make more or less sense?
This makes no sense. So because the number 93 has numerological synchronicity, that somehow 93 is linked with Aliester Crowley. You have got to be fucking kidding me. You cannot possibly believe this.
Here is the Wikipedia page he links on Thelema. The number 93 is of great significance in Thelema, a religion founded by English author and occultist Aliester Crowley in 1904, with the writing of the Book of the Law, also known as Liber Alvel Legis. I'm not great at pronouncing Latin, I'm sorry. The central philosophy of Thelema is in 2 phrases from Liber Al. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law, and love is the law, love under will. The 2 primary terms in these statements are will and love.
Defining how Thelema places 93 as a representation of love and will doesn't mean anything except that.
Interestingly enough, most people don't seem to catch on that Crowley is in no way saying what most Wiccans say when they say, the Wiccans say, do as thou wilt, so long as thou harm none. This is not what Crowley's saying. He's saying, do as thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law. love under will, meaning that love is the law so long as it doesn't get in the way of will, because will is more important. So if he's basically saying, I will love people so long as it doesn't get in the way of what I want. To dumb that down for you, okay?
Please don't try and dumb this down any more for me. And saying that Aliester Crowley believed that will was higher than love is missing the point completely. And when he is talking about will, he is not talking about one's imposing will. He is talking about one's will, one's true desire, and what they want to do.
The two primary terms in these statements are will and love, respectively. In the Greek language, they are thelema, will, and agape, love, using the Greek technique of isocephally, I can't pronounce that, I'm sorry, which applies to a numerical value to each letter. The letter of each of these words sum to 93.
It's related to gematria, where numbers can be used to represent letters, and letters can be translated to numbers. This can be used for Greek, Hebrew, Arabic, and later in Europe with Latin. So the fact that the Greek characters of thelema and agape both add up to 93 is a way of expressing both. Links are below. Since the Greek letters of thelema and agape both add up to 93, allows for Thelemites to express their greetings to one another. So, if anything, relating the number 93 to inflict death or suffering is completely abhorrent to this concept.
Okay? Here it goes on. You can come check this out. It goes way more into detail on this number 93 and the significance that it has with Thelema and Crowley and his followers. Okay? So you can come and read that if you wish. Okay? There is a great deal of information out there on Building 7 as well, including it essentially being an occult Masonic construct. Solomon building anyone. It's 47 stories, and trapezoidal shape can attest to that the seventh problem of elucid, also known as the Pythagorean theorem, represents a perfect symbol of Freemasonry.
I'm not sure why the Pythagorean theorem or Euclidean geometry is being thrown into this, but when you're building something, you need absolute precision. The precision that comes with math. And the only reason I believe that he's throwing Freemasons into this mix is to somehow cause guilt by association of this imaginary straw man, of this imaginary event that this person is creating.
There is, of course, a whole new can of worms to open with respect to the astrological importance of the 9/11 mega ritual, but there is far too much information on this topic to delve into here, as this is already becoming long-winded.
All that wind and no sail.
However, more information can be found in this well-made series of YouTube videos. This is this guy's YouTube videos, and I'll provide a link to these YouTube videos in the description. I've already mentioned these a couple of times. You should check these videos out because it goes way more into detail on the astrology.
I've watched that video, and basically it's the same crap that was in that book. It's just they add in a couple more conspiracy theories.
Okay? I was never a major astrologer. I always considered myself a jack of all trades. I studied just enough about every subject to have a form of mastery in itself, although I was never a master of any individual topic. I was never a master of astrology. I was never a master of tarot, but I studied all of these topics quite in-depthly enough to be able to see how they all connected. Okay?
Yeah. You're a jack, all right. When doing an investigation, you want to get as close to the source as possible.
In a nutshell, Saturn and Pluto achieved a position of powerful opposition on September 11th, 2001. They are both considered to be lords of death. Any astrologer can tell you that this alignment does not bode well for the people on Earth.
Numbers and astrology? This is the extent of your discovery.
Whether or not you believe in astrology is irrelevant. What is relevant is that TPTB do believe in this stuff, and they flaunt it in our faces because they can.
How? How is this relevant? The powers that be flaunt astrology. They believe. What does this mean? This doesn't even make any fucking sense.
For those of you who have been studying these occult scripts, it should come as no surprise that Sirius will get dragged into this mess as well.
Numbers Misquotes taken out of context, planetary bodies, do not make up the occult. You are taking the occult and turning it into something that it is not, solely for the purpose to fulfill some kind of an imaginary scenario that you believe happened. So you are taking your concept of what the occult is and you are twisting it and forming it into something that it just is not.
From the Most Dangerous Book, today's Coptic calendar, also called the Alexandrian calendar, is based on the ancient Egyptian calendar and is still used in Egypt, and also by the Coptic Orthodox Church. The first month of the year is named Thout, after Thoth, and thus the first day of the new year is the first of Thout. On the Gregorian calendar, this date coincides with September 11th.
How and why does the Coptic calendar come into this?
So that date is not only New Year's Day on the Coptic calendar, but more importantly, it is the symbolic or observed date of Sirius' heliacal rising.
Is this serious?
Of course, the precession of the equinoxes has shifted this a bit, and today that day has shifted 45 days. Now, the heliacal rising of Sirius occurs on August 5th.
It shifted 45 days. So what's the fucking point?
You'll never guess which date both the Statue of Liberty, really an homage to both Isis and Lucifer, and the Twin Towers were initiated. August 5th.
So fucking what? And why is he referencing the Gregorian calendar now when he was talking about the Coptic calendar? Is he using the Coptic calendar or is he using the Gregorian calendar? Or is he just using whatever conveniently fits his narrative at the time?
Oh, and the Pentagon was initiated in a Masonic ceremony on September 11th, 1941. The occult importance of Sirius is beyond the scope of this post, but just trust me that it's important. Did TPTB do anything to associate this event with the word Sirius? You betcha.
The importance of Sirius. Well, it's no 93 by any stretch of the imagination, but yes, actually Sirius doesn't really factor into the occult. It might, depending upon what the occultist is working with. If they're working with an Egyptian pantheon, then it might fall into play. But generally, Sirius is just a star.
Do a search for 9/11 in Sirius, and you'll find that the only K9, K equals 11, 11, 9, 9/11. Maybe I need to slow down a bit. Who died on that fateful day was named Sirius. Sirius was a dog, number 17. 17 is the star in the tarot, which according to occultists depicts the star of Sirius.
What the fuck? Why are you bringing the Star Tarot card into this? The Star Tarot card could mean Sirius, but it could also represent something else. So all these misquotes from Crowley, and you can't find one reference to Sirius to twist and misquote and take out of context? So I thought you said that Sirius was important to occultists, and you couldn't find one reference to it? K9 is what police call K9 for K9 unit. K is the 11th number of the alphabet, but why not use 11 for Liber 11? Or are we not using books anymore? Is that what's going on here?
If you think it's overkill that they would name a name and sacrifice a dog merely to add another layer to their occult script, and then you still don't really get how these events work.
Sacrifice a dog?
The more symbolism they cram into rituals, the more powerful the ritual becomes.
It doesn't work that way. It's not based upon sheer quantity of the symbolism that you throw in. It is actually much more complex than that, and it is the quality of the symbolism within the ritual. And no witch walks away from a ritual going, oh, if only I would have thrown in more Eye of Newt, it would have worked. It just doesn't work that way. It's not quantity, it's actually quality.
For more information on the occult significance of the numbers and astrology behind the events of 9/11, I recommend this article and this interview with the author of another book on this topic, which I haven't read, Prophet of Evil, Aliester Crowley, 9/11 and the New World Order.
Both of which parrot the same contrived garbage, Numbers and Crowley. It doesn't offer any empirical evidence. It's the same baseless attacks to disparage the occult. And this author, William Ramses, is a complete moron. He doesn't know the occult from a hole in his head.
Okay, so this is already a pretty long video. So I'm not going to read this article on top of this article. I will provide links to the interview. There is actually a whole series of videos by this guy, by this author, the author of The Prophet of Evil. Okay? Seriously, way too many. Like, each of them is like an hour long. So there's a lot of information on this subject. If you're not too lazy, and you actually consider yourself a person who cares about the truth, and isn't just trying to stroke your own ego, you should go check these videos out.
It just so happens I've seen several of William Ramsey's videos on the fictional occult.
Investigate the subject. Read the books. Check out the writings of people that have studied this topic far more extensively than either you or I have. Then, take it into consideration. And then if you want to scrutinize it and take the time to test it and find that it's an error, then let me know.
Sure. About 99% of William Ramsey's videos are complete contrived garbage pulled out of his bigoted imagination on the occult.
But until you've taken the time to research this topic a little bit more extensively, you should keep your tongue in your mouth and actually take the time to study the topic instead of just regurgitating a response. Again, I will provide links to all of this, to this article, and to any links that this guy mentioned that are not in this article, I will also provide. So you can check out these video series, you can read these books, study this topic a little bit more, and then if you still want to argue with me, go right ahead.
I'm not interested in arguing with you either. I read the shittiest book in the world. I watched all of those videos. I clicked on all of those links. I read this Reddit post so many times it's etched into my brain. None of these are empirical or substantial evidence. It's all contrived, subjective opinions based upon numbers, Masonic symbolism, Crowley quotes taken out of context, all in the hopes of disparaging and making the occult look like some kind of amorphous glob of some cabal that's out to doom society. It's all fictional bullshit. There is absolutely no evidence that any sane, rational person would associate the occult and the events of September 11th.
But as I said before, if you're not going to take the time to investigate this topic, which is far too complex for me to cover in a video, then there's no point in arguing with you. Your mind is made up. You don't care about the truth. Prove to me that you actually give a shit about the truth. And read the articles, check out the videos, read the books, then respond back if you still want to argue with me.
I have not seen any credible evidence to convince me that September 11th was a witchcraft ritual. It's just not there.
Till then, I'm just going to write you off as somebody who doesn't care about the truth. Anyways, that being said, I understand that this article in itself isn't worded as good as it could.
That's putting it lightly.
There are some points where it may have been a little confusing.
A little confusing? I wouldn't even know where to begin expanding on that statement.
That's also why there are more and more links provided within it. You can come check out this thread, check out the links, check out the videos. And it should be pretty apparent that there is more behind 9/11 than you may want to take into consideration.
Normally, I would encourage my audience to go out and search and look at the evidence for yourself. And I'm just going to be honest right here. This Reddit post has all the information that is supposed to be damning around this scenario. But please, if you really want to look into this, go ahead.
If after all of this you still don't believe it, you're probably just in denial.
So these are my only two choices. Either accept all of this contrived garbage for what it is, or denial.
Anyways, I have nothing against you. I wish you the best. I pray that that God will open your eyes to the truth. I also hope that in the future, you might approach people with a little bit more maturity and civility, instead of just coming out with a whole lot of ridicule and slander. Because the only reason I even found out that you did a video response to my video wasn't because you actually came to my page and said, hey, I did a video response to your video, you should check this out, which is what you should have done. This is what I do with people. If I do a response to their video, I actually go and track them down, and I actually go to the video I'm responding to, and I post a link to my video in the description.
Okay, calm down, Butterfly. You already knew that I was going to do a video response to you. I posted it in the comments when I came to your page. So it's not like I blindsided you.
The only reason I found out about this video is because one of your subscribers came to my page and started falsely accusing me of condoning witch burnings for some freaking reason. Just because I'm talking about 9/11 being a witchcraft ritual.
So you don't see how blaming witches for one of the most infamous attacks on American soil ever would have any possible ramifications or negative consequence for people who actually practice witchcraft?
Does not mean that I am saying it's okay to burn witches. That is not what I'm saying. If I were to say that, that would mean I would have burned my own fucking mother alive, because my mother was a witch for a long time after I was called out of witchcraft. I had to eventually get my mom to realize that it was Luciferianism and repent of it. And that took time. Had I been the type of person that believed in witch burnings, then I would have had to burn my own mother. Anyways, I'm just rambling on because that upset me a lot. I got pretty angry that was how I found out about your video response. It wasn't from you coming to me. It was from one of your subscribers falsely accusing and slandering me.
Falsely accusing and slandering? How would you feel if I went onto YouTube and I made a video accusing you, Buddafly FX, of being responsible for the 9/11 attacks?
Check yourself and your attitude, please. Be more civil with people and be more civil with you. Okay? God bless you. I wish you the best. I wish you healing, despite the fact that you probably wish me really bad things.
I do not wish any bad things on you,
considering the way that you approached me in your video. Anyways, I'm done rambling on. God bless. Have a great day. I hope to shed some light on this subject that I personally haven't put half the research into as these guys have that I am referring you to. God bless.
Okay, well, this is the end of this video. The only thing that I know are the facts of this situation. I have looked at the evidence that he has presented. I've explored the links. I read the book. I watched the video. None of it is solid evidence. It is all very contrived ideas, notions, thoughts, theories, not even theories really, about numbers. Again, misquotes by Crowley, planetary alignments, and Masonic symbolism that somehow all lined up in some kind of a weird whatever to cause this event to occur. I don't know how they could even possibly come up with this. So thank you so much, and blessed be. More number synchronicity. Venus is not a planet, nor is it a